Today we are going to see your new chapter, that is Expert Detective. Can you tell me by whom this chapter is written? Sharda Vivek. Sharda Vivek. It is very interesting chapter, Expert Detective. Let's see. I am going to read first. Just listen carefully. We are also going to enact on this chapter. Now see. This is the story of a brother and a sister. Sister's name is Maya and brother's name is Nisha. Or you can say Nisha. Don't talk unless you are asked. Maya is the elder sister, and Seema is younger. So this is the very beautiful story of Maya and Nisha. So both these brother and sister, they are trying to prove a man, an ordinary man, as a crook. They think that a particular man living near their house, he must be a crook. Especially Maya thinks so. Maya thinks that that particular man is a crook, and she was trying to convince Nisha that that man is a crook. So there are some characters, some main characters in the story. I am going to tell you. Maya, second character is Seven. Third character is of that man whose name is Mr. Nath. One more character is there of Ramesh. Here Maya and Nisha's mother, who is a doctor also. And few more characters are there. We are going to see it later on. Now see what happens. Expert Detective. As we walked back towards the clinic, Seven said, "He doesn't look anything like a monster, Maya. But did you see how thin he is? Maybe he is very poor and can't afford to eat. He can't be poor if he is a crook on the run." I told him, "Can you tell me I? Do you know who is this I? Maya. So here Maya is playing the role of a narrator. Narrator कौन होता है? Who is the narrator? Who narrates the story. So here our narrator is Maya. So I think instead of reading this dialogues between Maya and Nisha, I would like to request Aditi and Shripriya to come here and present these dialogues. So Aditi and Shripriya, please come.
Good morning everyone. My name is Shripriya Kumar Ghatke and I am from class 7 and I am going to play the role of Nisha.
And I am Aditi Sonone and I am going to play the role of Maya, the older sister of Nisha.
Let's start. He doesn't look anything like a monster, Maya. But did you see how thin he is? Maybe he is very poor and can't afford to eat.
He can't be poor. If he is a crook on the run, he got millions of rupees stashed somewhere in that room.
Do you really think that he is a criminal, Maya?
Yes.
He doesn't look like the one.
Yes, of course, he is the 1-7. Certain isn't starving. Mr. Mehta told us that Ramesh brings his meals from the restaurant downstairs.
But Mr. Mehta told us that he doesn't work anywhere. So how did he get the money to pay for the food and tips also?
Exactly. He must have lots of money hidden somewhere in that room. Maybe in his trunk in that room.
What rubbish!
I know, I'm right stupid. But by the way, Nisha, did you see his scars? I couldn't. It was too dark. But I bet he got them during a shootout with police or something.
Maya, Mama quite clearly told us that they were burn scars.
Yes, perhaps the police set his house on fire to force him out.
Thank you.
Now you have seen the dialogue between Maya and Nisha. So can you tell me who is thinking that Mr. Nath is a crook? Maya or Nisha? Maya, very good. Maya is thinking that Mr. Nath is a crook. And who is not ready to accept that Mr. Nath is a crook? Very good. Nisha. Nisha is not at all ready to accept Mr. Nath as a crook. So we have seen these dialogues and we came to the conclusion that Maya was trying to prove Mr. Nath as a crook. Now see what happens later on. Maya was trying to convince Nisha that Mr. Nath is a crook. So what happens later on? On the Monday following Mama's birthday, Seven went alone with her to the clinic of Girgaon. As I was spending the evening with a school friend, when they returned, Nisha told me he had been to see Mr. Nath and I felt most annoyed that I hadn't been there. Sevan had been quite upset about Mr. Nath's gaunt appearance and was sure that he was starving. He told me that he had knocked loudly on Mr. Nath's door that evening and said, "Open the door quickly, Mr. Nath." The man had opened it and asked him, "Lost another marble?" He said he had obviously recognized my brother. "No," said Nisha. He had taken the man's hand in his hand and pressed a bar of chocolate into it. Now see, here Maya and Nisha, what happened that day? That it was their mother's birthday, that is this Mrs. Doctor. She is a doctor. Maya and Nisha's mother is a doctor and there was her birthday. But Maya was not able to attend the birthday of her mother. So Nisha went there to celebrate or to wish her in her clinic. But what happened that day? That day Nisha got the opportunity to meet Mr. Nath, who they think as a crook. And Nisha got the opportunity to meet Mr. Nath and he told this thing to Maya, his elder sister. So Nisha told her that he had got the opportunity to see Mr. Nath. So how did he get that opportunity? He went to Mr. Nath, he just knocked his door. Knock, knock, as we always do. He just said he knocked his door and Mr. Nath opened the door. And as soon as Mr. Nath opened the door, Nisha, what did Nisha do? Can you tell me? Nisha ne kya kiya? Yes?
Nisha gave a bar of chocolate to Mr. Nath.
Very good. Just like this, Nisha put a bar of chocolate in his hands. Can you tell me why did he give that bar of chocolate to Mr. Nath? Yes?
He thinks that he can't afford the food.
Yes, he thought that he cannot afford the food and he must be starving. वो भूखा होगा, उसको लगा कि he must be starving and that is why he gave that bar of chocolate to Mr. Nath. And when he was telling all this thing to Maya, she was very much upset. She was having regret that she could not meet Mr. Nath. Now she started interrogating Nisha. उसने क्या किया? निशा का इंट्रोगेशन करना स्टार्ट कर दिया. She started interrogating Nisha that exactly what happened there, what did you do, whether he was able to meet Mr. Nath properly, whether he interrogated Mr. Nath properly. And now I request Sanyogita and Shreya to come here and present the dialogue between Maya and Sevan.
My name is Sanyogita and I am going to play the role of Maya.
My name is Shreya Shenke and I'm going to play the role of Nisha.
Did you get a chance to speak in Vietnam, Seven?
He didn't even ask me, but I find out something, Maya. I go down to the downstairs and I saw Ramesh work and talk to him.
Good for you, Siddhi. I hope you question him properly.
Ramesh told me that he takes 2 meals for Mr. Nath, morning and evening, and 2 cups of tea, one in the morning and one in the afternoon.
And what does he eat?
He is not very particular about what does he eat. It's always same. Chapati, some dal and vegetable.
And anything else?
Ramesh told me very strange, Maya. He takes every Sunday 2 lunches for Mr. Nath. At the same time with him, each time same man.
And how does he look?
He is tall, wears snout and wears spectacles.
Well done, Nisha. Now we have made some progress with our inquiries. We will have to sort out all the facts like an expert in data, student and traffic.
How do you go on, Maya? How can you say that he looks so ordinary?
Criminals can look quite ordinary, smarty. Did you see the picture of the Hyderabad county paper in the papers yesterday? He looked like any man on the street.
Thank you. See the dialogues between Sanyogita and Shreya. And we came to know that Maya started interrogating Nishad and she asked Nishad whether Nishad got the opportunity to pick or to see inside the room of Mr. Nath. Because Maya was trying to find out that what exactly is there in his room. So she asked Nishad whether he was able to peep into Mr. Ramesh's room. But what was Nishad's reply? Was he able to peep? No. Why? Can you tell me? Yes? Why he was not able to peep inside the room? Yes?
Because Mr. Nath does not ask him to came inside his room.
Very good. Because Mr. Nath didn't ask him to come inside. He just opened the door and asked Nishad whether he has lost another marble. But Nishad said no, and he was there to give him a bar of chocolate only. And that is why he just put a bar of chocolate into Mr. Nath's hand and he came back. Now see what happens. Now after this, their schools were about to start and Maya and Nishad had to join the school. But what happens? During that day, it was started raining heavily. Kelter and kelter. Everywhere water is there. Roads were all muddy and flood was there. So no traffic could move. It was not possible to go on that road, walk on that road, or not even it is possible for a vehicle to pass through that road. And that is why at once the government had to declare holiday to their schools. And in this way, Maya and Nishad got one more day or few more days for investigating about Mr. Nath. Especially Maya, who was trying to prove that Mr. Nath is a crook. So Maya took the opportunity of this holiday and started investigating and noting down all the details about Mr. Nath and all the investigations which they were made till the date. Now see, then she said, then I began writing about half an hour. I turned towards Sevan, who was lying on his tummy, chin cupped in his palms, reading comics. Now you can imagine the scene. Nishad was there. He was lying on the bed. Comic was there in his hand, and Maya was just sitting on the table and writing down some points about Mr. Nath. And when she finished her writing, she asked Sevan, and what happens later on? I would like to call Aryan and Ujjwal to come on here. Aryan and Ujjwal, please come.
Good morning, my name is Aryan and I am going to play the role of Maya.
Good morning, my name is Ujjwal. I am going to roll of Nisha.
I have listed all the facts about Mr. Nath which can help us to catch him. Want to hear? Fact number 1. I read his name. His name is Mr. Nath. We must discover his name first. Fact
Do you think that's a real name, Maya?
Probably not. Most of the group have arrived. Fact number 2. The tenants at Shankar House say he's mad, strange and unfriendly. Fact number 3. He doesn't talk to anyone and is a mannerless.
But he did talk to us, Maya, and Mama said he will provide.
He talked to us because he has to, and he is polite because his treatment was going under mother clinic. Fact number 4. He doesn't receive any letters. Fact number 5. He has been living in room 10 of Shankar House for more than a year. Fact number 6. He doesn't work and sit in his room all day. Fact number 7. The kids in Shankar House and even some of the grown-ups are scared of him. Fact number 8. He has no visitor except for a spectacled fair fat man who visit him on Sunday. Fact number 9. Food and tea are taken to his room by Ramesh from the restaurant downstairs. He doesn't care what he eats, pay his bill immediately and tip well. That is the end of my list. Have I forgotten something? Thank you.
See, now we have seen the dialogues between Aryan and Ujjwal about the facts. Those were listed by Maya. Maya took the opportunity of the holiday and she started noting down all the points in her diary and she read it out for Nishad. Nishad was ready to accept or ready to listen to those facts because Maya was his elder sisters. जैसे आप सबको भी अपने बड़े भाई बहनों की बात सुननी पड़ती है ना? You cannot go against them. them, and that is why Sevan was ready to listen to Maya, and Maya read out all those facts about Mr. Nath. Now, can you one by one tell me about those facts? 7 or 8, 10 facts near about Maya estate. Now you have to tell me one by one. Now who will tell me the fact? First one.
He looks like a criminal.
Okay, he looks like the criminal. Okay, sit down. Next. Anything else? Yes?
He doesn't receive any letters.
Okay, don't read into your book. He didn't receive any letter.
His name is Mr. Nath. They must find his first name.
Yes. Maya came to know that his name is Mr. Nath and they have to find out his first name. Yes?
He doesn't talk to anyone.
Yes, just like criminals, Mr. Nath doesn't talk to anybody because criminals do not want to other people identify them, and that is why they do not speak to others. Next. Yes?
The people of Shankar House say he is mad, strange and unfriendly.
Yes. The people of Shankar House. Shankar House is the building where Mr. Nath lives. Shankar House is the name of the building where he lives. So the people who were living there, they told that Mr. Nath is very unfriendly and he always behaves like a mad or strange person. Anything else?
He's been living in Shankar House, room number 10, more than a year.
Yes, he has been living there for more than a year. 8 साल से भी ज़्यादा उसको समय हो गया था. And instead of that,
The kids in Shankar House scared him.
very good. Kids are afraid of Mr. Nath because he was not quite handsome or that. He was something strange. There were scar marks on his face, and that is why children living in Shankar House or near Shankar House, they are afraid of Mr. Nath. Yes?
He has no visitors except a spectacled and stout man.
Very good. Only one visitor comes to meet him on every Sunday, for whom 2 lunches were ordered every time. So, other than that visitor, no one comes to visit Mr. Nath. He always lives alone. Yes?
He sits in his home all the day and doesn't work anywhere.
Very good. This is also one of the facts that Maya noted down, that he simply sits in that Shankar House and he didn't work anywhere. वो कहीं भी काम करने के लिए नहीं जाता. He didn't go anywhere, and still he lives very happy life. Or he used to order his meals, he used to pay the bills, even he gives the tips. So this is also one of the facts that Maya found out about Mr. Nath. Anything left?
He doesn't talk to anyone and he is mannerless.
Very good. That man is a mannerless and he doesn't talk to anybody. Okay, got it?
Yes.
So all these are the investigations made by Maya about Mr. Nath, and she noted down all these, jotted down all these investigations in her diary and read it out to Nishad. In this way, she was trying to prove that Mr. Nath is a crook. Okay. So let's see what happens later on. Nishad had obviously not been paying too much attention to my list of facts. All he could say was, poor man Maya, he must be so lonely if he doesn't have any friends. Now see, Nishad was very cooperative, Nishad was very kind, and Nishad was thinking about Mr. Nath in a very good manner. He never think that Mr. Nath is a crook. So there was no impact of all these investigations on Nishad. What did he say? What was Nishad's opinion about Mr. Nath? Why he was like that?
Nishad said that Mr. Nath is very poor and he can't afford to eat and he is starving.
Yes, he is starving, and he thinks that as nobody tried to make friendship with Mr. Nath, and that is why he didn't have any friend. Then Maya tells him that how can a crook have friends, idiot? I dialogues we are going to see. I'll invite Kushagra and Kasturi to come here and present these dialogues. Kushagra and Kasturi.
Good morning. My name is Kasturi Ganesh Birodkar and today I am going to play office.
My name is Kushagra Shinde and I am going to play a role of Maya.
Poor man, Maya, he must be so lonely if he doesn't have any friends.
How can a crook have friends, idiot?
At least he has one friend, the one who meets him on Sunday.
Maybe he gives half a fruit to his accomplice who comes on Shankar's house on Sunday. That's it. I am sure. I am right.
If you insist on calling him a criminal, I don't think I want to discuss anything with you, Maya. He can't be such a bad man if he gives Ramesh such general tips.
Ramesh probably knows something about his past, so Mr. Nath driving him to keep quiet. How can we make any progress with our investigation if you take that attitude, Seven?
I will cooperate only if you give up this idea about him being an escape crook. You really make me angry, Maya.
I make you angry, you stupid. Oof, you make me mad. What is the point of all these inquiries if he is not a crook? Thank you.
Kushagra and Kasturi, and we came to know that Maya was continuously trying to compel Nishad, and she was trying to prove Mr. Nath as criminal, and she also wants Nishad to listen to her and accept the fact that Mr. Nath is a crook. But Nishad was not at all ready to accept the fact that Mr. Nath is a crook. And Maya was little bit irritated. She got irritated by seeing the attitude of Sevan towards Mr. Nath, because she had to prove Mr. Nath as a crook. And if Nishad is not ready to accept, then she had to leave the idea of proving Mr. Nath as a crook. So she told Nisha that how can we improve our investigations, or how can we go deep into our investigations if your attitude is like that. If you are not ready to accept Mr. Nath as a crook, then what is the use of all these investigations? What is the use of all these points that I have noted down about Mr. Nath? So what you have to do? You have to believe that Mr. Nath is a crook. Then only we can do some progress in our investigations. Now, later on what happens? Nishad looked thoughtful, and I would like to find out why he is so keen. And here see what Nishad think about Mr. Nath, or what Maya think about it. We are going to see through the conversation between Jaideep and Shreyas. So I am going to invite Jaideep and Shreyas to continue this presentation. Please come.
Good morning everyone, I'm Jaideep Ingre and I am going to play the role of Maya.
Good morning everyone. My name is Shresh and I am going to play role of Nisha. I would like to find out why he's so thin and why he's so lonely. I want now why doesn't have any friends and lives alone.
Try to understand, Sharon. If he is living in Shankar house for 1 year and hasn't made a single friend, that means that there is something wrong. He is absolutely scared that someone will recognize him and give him up to the cops.
Maybe no one's tried to make a friend with him.
Why should anyone bother? You see what a nasty bear is?
I don't care. I like him and I am going to try to be his friend.
Friendship with the crook. Ha, you are crazy, Seven. Cops will take you to the jail along with him. Do you want that to happen, you idiot?
Thank you.
Now you have seen the conversation between Jaideep and Shreyas, and we come to know that Nishad wanted to make friendship with whom? With Mr. Nath, not a crook. Yet till now we have not come to the conclusion that Mr. Nath is a crook. They were just trying to investigate into the matter, but Nishad was not at all ready to accept the fact. She was not convinced by Maya that Mr. Nath is a crook, because Nishad said that Mr. Nath is very polite. Nobody tried to make friendship with him, and that is why he do not have any friend. So Nishad was continuously denying the fact that about Mr. Nath, that he is a crook. So now I am going to ask you a few questions. So can you tell me where does Mr. Nath live? Very good. Now, who takes lunches for Mr. Nath? Yes.
Ramesh takes lunches for Mr. Nath.
Very good. Now, can you tell me what he eats? Yes.
Chapatis, some dals and vegetables.
How many chapatis? 2 chapatis. Very good. 2 chapatis, some dal and vegetable. So, whether he takes something else other than this? Yes.
He takes 2 cups of tea, one in the morning and one in the afternoon.
Very good. He also takes 2 cups of tea, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. Now, anybody comes to meet him? Yes or no? Yes.
Ma'am, a tall, fat and snout and wear spectacles, ma'am.
Comes to meet him.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. When did he come? Or yes.
He came on every Sunday.
Yes. That man comes to visit Mr. Nath on every Sunday. And how many lunches he had to order on Sunday? 2 lunches. Very good. So 2 lunches were being ordered on every Sunday by Mr. Nath. Now tell me whether he in what mode he pays his bills, in cash or something.
He pays his bill in cash and pays tips well.
Very good. He pays his bill in cash and also gives some tip. Tip क्या होता है? What is tip? Can you tell me? Yes.
When the extra money which is given to the waiter.
Very good. The extra money which we give to the waiter for his service. Okay. So now tell me whether Nishad was convinced by Maya that Mr. Nath is a crook? Anybody else? Yes? Stand up.
Nishad can't want to understand that Mr. Nath was a cook.
Very good. Means he was not at all ready to accept that Mr. Nath is a crook. So under whose treatment Mr. Nath was? Yes?
Under Nishad and Maya's mom.
Yes, under Nishad and Maya's mom. Very good. Now tell me what Maya think about the scars which were there on the face of Mr. Nath. What she think those scars were?
They were burn scars.
They were burn scars. And how did he get those scars? According to Maya. Yes?
Maya thinks that burn scar should be happened if police has been gone his house to put him out.
Very good. Sit down. So I hope all of you got the clear idea about the chapter?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes?
Yes.
So tomorrow we are going to discuss a few more things about this chapter, and also you have to complete the exercise which is there after this chapter. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.